What's up guys, Bionic here and welcome to today's Raid Shadow Legends video where we are going to continue our list of top 5 champions. Just a reminder, I did this following this video right here, 5 major tips to improve your arena, where the last point was basically the crowd control in the game. It is crucial, very, very important, especially for the arena, also for dungeons, and also for faction wars, okay? So we did the top 5 stun champions, we did the top 5 freeze champions, we just did the top 5 sleep champions, and now we are going to do the top 5 fear, or more precisely, true fear debuff, okay? This is a relatively new debuff. It was only added I think about 2 or 3 patches ago, which means there's not a lot of champions that can do this. It actually came out during the Halloween theme last year basically, so October. Anyway, what is fear? Fear is when a champion with this debuff attempts to use a skill, there is a 50% chance that the skill will not activate and the champion will lose their turn. So it's not a full hard CC, right? You still have a chance at being able to act. The true fear version is basically the same thing, but the skill that they tried to use goes on cooldown. That can really screw up your rotation or basically your entire run, right? So still effective to some degree, would not be my favorite if I only had to pick one hard CC champion, but if it's the only thing you've got, then work with it, all right? So, like always, we are going to use my tier list to do this. Like I said, we went over the stun champions, the freeze champions, the sleep champions, and now we are going to do the true fear. And to make it a bit quicker for you guys, what I did today is that I already isolated all the champions, all right? The reason for this, because I think by now you guys understand, right? I'm just using the filters, and also I need to point out that some of the champions in the list are actually doing other types of CCs as well, which means I had to pull up some stun champions at the same time, all right? But anyway, let's get going. We got a few things to cover. Let's start with number 5 on my list. It is Madame Cerise. What an amazing champion. I really wish I would have her for so many different reasons. Not exactly the fear though, okay? What I really like about her is basically the remove all buffs from enemies, yep, decrease attack, places, so 100%, and 60% decrease defense on a 4-turn cooldown. This is so good for dungeons, the arena. It's really, really nice. But she also has a fear built in, which works off of a shield buff. There is a 35% chance of placing a fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. So, very good, because she can also, if I'm not mistaken, place a shield on herself, right, on the same passive. Place a shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of their max HP at the start of each turn, okay? So if you start off with a shield set, then you already have a chance to apply the fear. Then at the start of every turn, she's going to shield herself, effectively creating this opportunity for you to pull off the fear, all right? The rest of her kit is also really nice. She has the chance to basically steal a random buff from each target, places a block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns if any buff is stolen, and then places a true fear, this is what we really want, for 1 turn on enemies who have buffs stolen, okay? So the reason why she's number 5 though is because, again, this is very situational. When you typically open up on an arena fight, she's going to use, if I'm not mistaken, this skill right here, unless the enemy team does not have many buffs. Then she might go with this one. So really good on the offense, but on the defense, she can be somewhat unreliable because of this. But anyway, she's got both of them built in, so she definitely has a spot on my list of top 5. Now moving on to the 4th champion on my list is going to be Braukus the Shifter. This guy is a nuker, number 1, but he also has the fear built in, all right? So let's look at his kit right here. It's basically a legendary force champion, and it's this skill right here, Hunter's Howl. Places a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 3 turns, and then attacks 1 enemy 3 times, okay? But this is usually enough to take out 1 champion, for sure. What happens is that each hit has a 50% chance of placing a true fear, 75% once fully booked for 1 turn. Also has a 50% chance of placing a fear debuff on 2 random enemies for 1 turn if the True Fear debuff is placed. Alright, so he takes a champion out and then has a chance to fear the other champions basically on the enemy team. Really nice. He also has a built-in revive, right, which also grants him an extra turn. So very dangerous. You kill him, then he comes back to life and kills another champion. Alright, and then he's got this skill right here, which is yet another single target nuke. Okay, so very strong champion. Definitely see him in the arena quite a lot. Also has relatively high speed, very high attack, decent amount of HP, and I think there was even a video of him doing the Ultra Nightmare Clan boss with some pretty insane damage. Alright, so for those reasons, Braukus the Shifter is number 4 on my list. Alright, moving on, number 3 on my list of top 5 fear champions is going to be Elder Scar. Now this guy we don't see a lot of, but I think maybe people are sleeping on him. I think he's slightly better than Braukus the Shifter, but his kit is relatively complex, okay? So let's pull him up. He's in the Barbarians faction. He's a legendary force once again. So he's got this skill right here, which is attack one enemy 3 times, and then places an extra hit for each buff or debuff on the target, sorry. That's typically something the enemy will have, right? At least some of those. And if he places up to 3 extra hits, or he can, but if it happens, then places an HP burn debuff for 2 turns and a True Fear debuff for 1 turn, okay? So interesting, situational, but I feel like this is also like a single target nuke, right? Definitely a champion that can take out another enemy in 1 hit. Also, he's got this passive right here where he receives less damage from a legendary champion. So he definitely seems like he's built to be in the arena. Then he's also got this skill right here, which is pretty intense. So it's 60% increased defense buff on this champion for 3 turns. Places a fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Places a True Fear debuff for 1 turn on targets under block damage buffs. And then places a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns on target under shield buffs. And these cannot be resisted. Again, very situational, but I feel like this guy, if properly used, can definitely be very, very useful in probably gold tier 4, maybe even low platinum. I don't see him a lot, but I think that he has a lot of potential. Also, look at his speed, look at his attack. Really, really high. So guys, if you do have him, definitely try him out. Like, I think he has, like I said, a place in the top 5, of course, and that is why he's number 3. Let me know what you think. Is he really one of the top 5s, or should he be lower on the list? All right, now moving on to the next 2 champions. The second on the list is going to be Mashaallah. That's right, the champion that just got reworked, which is very useful in the arena, but also in dungeons now, all right? So this is the skill that got reworked quite a bit. Well, basically, I think they all got reworked, but this one now works by placing a 30% increased speed, 30% increased damage buff on all allies, and then here's the CC part. It's a True Fear and a Leech debuff on all enemies for 2 turns with a 100% chance to happen. Then he has an extra turn leading into this skill right here, which is enough to take out an enemy champion in 1 hit. Followed by this skill right here, which heals him by 30% of the damage inflicted. Also attacks all enemies under leech debuffs, so that means even more healing, okay? He has a decent amount of speed, decent amount of attack. Guys, a really, really good champion now that he's been reworked. I do see him quite a lot more in the high gold tier 4 and low platinum now. And like I said, for that reason, he's number 2 on my list. All right, now, time to do the last champion, the number uno of the AoE Fear champion is going to be Harvest Jack. That's right, not only because I have him, but because he was a fusion, okay, so he was accessible, but this guy also has the 100% True Fear debuff, once fully booked, okay? So when compared to Mashaallah, that's a problem because you have to book him to get the full benefit of the CC aspect. However, what I like about his skill is that it does so much more in terms of a CC skill. You have the True Fear, you also have the 30% decreased speed, as well as a 15% turn meter reduction if the True Fear is placed. Then also has a 75% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn if the True Fear debuff is not placed. Okay, so guy, really annoying to deal with in the arena. I use him in my team personally. I also love his passive. It's great to shred the enemy team of their buffs simply by being attacked. Also, look at his HP. This is the perfect candidate for a shield set, right? But if you want him as a dedicated CC champion, you may not use the shield set and just go for full speed. Try to reach like 250, 260 speed so that he goes right after your really speedy Arbiter. He has a decent amount of speed to start with, relatively low attack and defense, but he's not really there to deal damage, right? Then he also has this skill right here, which is really interesting. If he's fast enough and you get the True Fear placed, basically, then he attacks all enemies again and places a block buffs yet more CC. This is kind of like a soft CC, but still, it's very nice. Also has the ability to remove attack buffs, remove continuous heal buffs, and replaces them with a decreased attack respectively and 5% poison. So guys, this is the ultimate CC champion in my opinion right now, okay? Then if that's not enough, he also has a triple hit A1, which has a chance of stealing the buffs from the enemy target. And if he steals all of them, then he places a fear on top of that. Guys, this is next level. I really, really, really like Harvest Jack, and for that reason, he is number 1 on my list. All right, now one more thing to do before I let you guys go is to look at the top 5, but also do one honorable mention, which is going to be Miscreated Monster. That's right, he also has a fear built in. Like I said, he was released at the same time as Harvest Jack, Madame Cerise, and then Miscreated Monster. We already covered Miscreated Monster for the stun effect, right? But on his passive, he also has a chance of placing a fear. Not a chance, places, sorry. I need to precise that. It's 100%. So as long as an ally is attacked and they have the ally protection buff. Yet this is a guy that does do the ally protection buff, all right? So really nice. The problem with him is that he's overall relatively slow. And if you're going to use him as a dedicated CC champion, he's going to use this skill here first, which is only a 50% chance to stun, okay? So that was the same problem when I mentioned him in my stun champions, is the fact that you cannot rely on something that only has 50% chance. However, if this is the only thing you have, guys, definitely use him. We've seen him used in all the dungeons, really strong champion overall. So like I said, definitely worthy of an honorable mention. Alright guys, so that's going to be it. My list of top 5 fear champions. We had Harvest Jack number 1, Mashaallah, Elder Skarg, Braukus the Shifter, Madame Cerise, the honorable mention, Miscreated Monster. Let me know what you guys think. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later.